Have you ever felt trapped inside your own mind? Like your thoughts keep replaying the same pain, the same doubt, the same fears, and over again? It's like you're stuck in a mental prison that you can't escape, no matter how much you try. Now, what if I told you that there are 8 brutal, stoic laws that could destroy that prison? Laws so powerful, they can kill your negative thinking for good. Before we begin, if you're serious about transforming your life through stoic wisdom, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and watch till the end, because what you're about to learn could completely change the way you see your pain, your love life, and even your failures. Let's dive in. Number 1, control what you can, let go of the rest. Let me ask you something. Have you ever waited for a text that never came? You kept staring at your phone, refreshing the screen, checking if your signal was fine, replaying every message in your head, wondering, did I say something wrong? Did they lose interest? Did they find someone else? That silence, it's louder than words, isn't it? You sit there overthinking every possibility, your heart pounding, your mind creating stories that don't even exist. You start feeling rejected, unworthy, maybe even angry. But here's the truth, the problem isn't the silence, it's your reaction to it. You can't control whether someone texts you back. You can't control if they stay, leave, or change. But what you can control is how you respond. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." The first brutal stoic law begins here. Control what you can, let go of the rest. It sounds simple, but it's one of the hardest lessons life will ever teach you. Because we humans, we love control. We want to shape everything, people, outcomes, even emotions. We want others to love us back, to understand us, to stay consistent. But life doesn't work that way. People change. Circumstances shift. Plans fall apart. Think about the person you once loved deeply. Maybe they used to send you good morning texts, share their dreams with you, make you feel like you were their world. Then one day the energy changed. The calls became shorter. The warmth faded. And suddenly you were fighting a battle to keep what was already slipping away. You thought if you tried harder, loved stronger, explained more, they'd come back to how they used to be. But that's where Stoicism steps in and to remind you, gently but firmly, that was never yours to control. Your energy is precious. Every time you chase what isn't yours to manage, you drain it. You give away your peace in exchange for pain. You see, life gets lighter the moment you stop fighting what's beyond your control. When you stop begging for closure, stop seeking constant reassurance, stop trying to fix people who don't want to be fixed, something powerful happens. You start to feel free, because real strength isn't about controlling everything. It's about controlling yourself in the middle of everything. You can't control if they love you, but you can control how deeply you love yourself. You can't control what happens tomorrow, but you can control how you prepare today. You can't control their words, but you can control your silence. And when you master that, the storms outside no longer matter. The Stoic law of control isn't cold or emotionless. It's liberating. It's realizing that peace begins where your control ends. So next time your heart aches because someone didn't choose you, remember this, it's not your job to make them stay. It's your job to protect your peace, to guard your mind, and to love yourself enough to let go. That is where real power begins. Number 2, the obstacle is the way. Let me ask you something personal. Have you ever loved someone so deeply that you thought they were the one? You built dreams around them, planned futures, imagined growing old together, and then one day it all just ended. Maybe not with a fight, not even with closure, just silence, distance, and a pain that refused to go away. You remember those nights, don't you? Lying awake, staring at the ceiling, thinking, why did this happen to me? What did I do wrong? You tried to move on, but every song, every street, every place reminded you of them. It felt like life had slammed a door in your face, like the universe was cruel enough to take away the one thing that made you feel alive. But what if I told you that this wasn't the end? What if this was the beginning, that the very pain you're trying to escape is the path you're meant to walk? This is the brutal Stoic truth. The obstacle is the way. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Every hardship, every heartbreak, every obstacle, it's not blocking your path. It is your path. Let me share a secret most people never learn, and sometimes The person who breaks your heart is the one who saves your soul. Because if they hadn't left, you'd never have found yourself. If they hadn't hurt you, you'd never have learned your worth. Think back. Remember the first days after they walked away, when everything felt dark, when you couldn't even imagine smiling again. But look at you now. You survived. You're still breathing. You've grown. You've learned. That's Stoicism in motion, turning pain into power. You see, when life throws obstacles at you, heartbreaks, rejections, failures, you have two choices. You can let them define you, or you can let them refine you. The Stoics chose the second. They believed that pain is not a punishment, it's a teacher. It doesn't come to destroy you, it comes to prepare you. Think about gold. It doesn't shine until it's been through fire. The same goes for you. Every painful moment you've endured has been shaping you into something stronger, wiser, more grounded. That heartbreak that once felt unbearable, that was your fire. It burned away your illusions, your dependency, your need for control. It made you realize that you don't need someone to complete you. You only needed to find yourself. So next time life feels unfair when people walk away, or plans fall apart, don't curse the pain. Don't run from it. Stand still and whisper, "This is the way." Because one day you'll look back at the same obstacle that broke you, and you'll thank it. You'll thank it for showing you your strength, for pushing you toward growth, for revealing who you really are beneath all that hurt. And that's the beauty of Stoicism. It doesn't promise a life without pain. It promises a mind so strong that pain becomes the path to peace. Number 3, Amor Fati, love your fate. Have you ever looked back at your life and thought, why did it have to happen this way? Why did that person leave? Why didn't that love last? Why did the one you trusted the most become the one who hurt you the deepest? You see, sometimes life doesn't just break your heart, it breaks your plan. You thought you'd marry that person. You thought you'd grow together, face the world side by side. But suddenly everything changed. They slipped away, and you were left holding the pieces of a life that no longer existed. You replayed every memory, the first text, the long calls, those late night talks that made you believe love could last forever. And you ask yourself, what if things had gone differently? That question, it's heavy, isn't it? Because deep down, you still wish you could go back and rewrite that story. But here's the truth. Stoicism teaches that you were never meant to. Marcus Aurelius, one of the wisest Stoics, lived by a principle called Amor Fati. It means love your fate. Not just accept it, love it. Every heartbreak, every rejection, every twist of fate, all of it was written for you, not against you. Imagine this. What if the person who left wasn't meant to be your ending, but your beginning? What if their absence was the silence you needed to finally hear your own voice? What if losing them wasn't punishment but protection? When you start to see life this way, something changes inside you. You stop asking, why me? And start whispering, thank you. Because the truth is, the universe isn't cruel. It's careful. It removes what doesn't serve your destiny, even when you can't see it yet. Think about it. If that person had stayed, maybe you would have settled for less than you deserve. Maybe you would have forgotten your dreams, your peace, your worth. Sometimes love leaves not to destroy you, but to redirect you towards something far more beautiful. That's what Amor Fati really means. It's falling in love with your story, even the painful chapters. It's understanding that every scar is part of your design, every detour part of your direction. So the next time you look back at your life and feel sadness for how things turned out, remember, if things had gone differently, you would be different. And maybe, just maybe, you wouldn't have grown into the stronger, wiser, more awakened version of yourself that you are right now. Amor Fati is not about giving up, it's about letting go. It's about trusting that even when your heart doesn't understand, your destiny does. So love your fate. Not just the sunshine, but the rain too. Because without that heartbreak, without that pain, you would have never learned how powerful your heart truly is. The Stoic doesn't just survive what happens, they embrace it. They say, this is my path and I will love it, all of it. And that's when life finally begins to love you back. Number 4, Memento Mori, remember you will die. Let me ask you something deeply personal. If you knew you only had one more day with the person you love the most, what would you say? Would you still hold back your feelings? Would you still let pride win arguments? Would you still scroll through your phone instead of looking into their eyes and telling them how much they mean to you? We live as if tomorrow is guaranteed. We assume there's always more time to love, to forgive, to say the words we never said. But there's a brutal Stoic truth that most people run from. Memento Mori. Remember you will die. It sounds dark, but it's not. It's one of the most freeing reminders you'll ever hear. Because when you truly remember that life is short, something changes in you. Suddenly the things that once made you angry don't matter anymore. The ego that kept you from saying I'm sorry merely starts to fade. The fear of rejection, the overthinking, the resentment, all of it feels so small compared to the fragility of life itself. Think back to someone you once loved deeply. Do you remember the way they used to laugh? The little things you didn't appreciate enough back then? Maybe you argued over something meaningless. Maybe you walked away thinking there'd be time to fix it later. But sometimes, later never comes. Memento Mori isn't meant to scare you. It's meant to wake you up, to remind you that the moments you're living right now, the ordinary ones, are not ordinary at all. They're fleeting. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now." Let that determine what you do and say and think. When you live with that awareness, you stop wasting your life on negativity. You stop replaying past hurts. You stop waiting for the perfect time to love, to speak, to start again. Because the truth is, perfection never comes. Only the present moment exists. And when you live as if every day could be your last, you begin to live more honestly, more fearlessly, more fully. Imagine if you treated every message, every hug, every goodbye like it might be the last one. You'd love deeper, forgive faster, complain less. You'd finally stop taking people and time for granted. That's what the Stoics understood. Death isn't the end. It's the teacher that makes life meaningful. So the next time you find yourself angry, overthinking, or holding on to grudges, pause and whisper to yourself, Memento Mori. Because remembering death is what truly teaches you how to live. Love while you can. Speak while you can. Forgive while you can. Because someday all that will remain of you are the memories you leave behind in the hearts of those you touched. The Stoic doesn't fear death. They use it as fuel to live deeply, to love bravely, and to cherish every breath. Because when you remember that you will die, you finally begin to live. Number 5, focus on what's in your control. Let me ask you something. Have you ever loved someone so much that their every word, every action, every little silence had the power to change your entire mood? One moment you're smiling because they said something sweet. The next you're broken because they didn't reply. It's crazy, isn't it? How someone's behavior can hold so much power over your peace. You start thinking, if they text me, I'll be happy. If they ignore me, I'll fall apart. Without realizing it, you've handed over the keys to your happiness to someone else's pocket. That's where the 5th Stoic law steps in. Focus only on what's in your control. Epictetus once said, "Some things are up to us, and some are not." Those words sound simple, but they hold the power to free your soul. Think about it. You can't control whether someone stays loyal. You can't control if they understand your love or take it for granted. You can't control if they choose you or if one day they just don't. But you can control how you respond. You can control your patience, your boundaries, your dignity. You can choose peace over panic, acceptance over obsession. Let me paint you a scene. You're waiting for that text again, your mind racing. Every minute feels like an hour. You check their profile, last seen messages, trying to figure out what changed. You start blaming yourself, doubting your worth. But then, what if instead of spiraling, you stop and ask yourself, is this in my control? The moment you ask that, everything shifts. Because the truth is that their silence, their actions, their choices, they belong to them. But your peace, that belongs to you. And when you start guarding your peace like something sacred, you stop being a victim of other people's moods. You see, life becomes so much lighter when you stop trying to fix what isn't yours to fix. You can't force someone to love you right. You can't make someone communicate. You can't control how people see you, but you can control how you see yourself. That's where your real power lies. The Stoics believed that most human suffering doesn't come from the world itself, but from our attempt to control it. We suffer because we fight against what is, instead of focusing on what can be changed, our thoughts, our reactions, our mindset. So the next time you find yourself consumed by anxiety or heartbreak, take a deep breath and say, "This is beyond me." Then turn inward. Focus on your growth, your calm, your purpose. Because when you master your inner world, the outer world loses its power to shake you. Remember, peace isn't found by controlling life. It's found by controlling your response to it. And once you truly understand that, no silence, no rejection, no chaos can steal your peace again. That's what Stoicism is, and not indifference, but inner freedom. Number 6, perception shapes reality. Have you ever noticed how two people can experience the exact same moment but walk away, feeling completely different? One feels broken, the other feels stronger. The event was the same, but their perception wasn't. Let's imagine this through your own love story. You loved someone deeply once, and maybe you still do. There were nights you stayed up replaying their messages, smiling at the thought of them. And then one day, something changed. The texts stopped coming as often. Their tone shifted. The warmth you once felt began to fade. You started to wonder, did I do something wrong? Do they even love me anymore? Your mind began creating stories. You started to perceive their silence as rejection, their distance as proof that you weren't enough. And suddenly the world felt heavy, cold, and unfair. But what if your perception was lying to you? Maybe they were struggling too, overwhelmed, confused, or lost. Maybe their silence had nothing to do with your worth. But because your mind framed the situation through the lens of pain, you began living in a reality built by your fears, not by truth. This is what Stoicism teaches us, that our perception creates our reality. Marcus Aurelius said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." If your thoughts are filled with bitterness, every word, every look will feel like an attack. But if your thoughts are guided by calmness and reason, even challenges become opportunities. Think about it. Have you ever looked back at something that once shattered you? Maybe that breakup, that rejection, and realized it actually made you stronger. Back then it felt like the end. Now it feels like a lesson. Nothing about the event changed. Only your perception did. That's the power you hold every single day. The power to decide how you interpret what happens to you. You can see heartbreak as loss or as transformation. You can see failure as humiliation or as growth. You can see endings as tragedy or as new beginnings. Now ask yourself, what are you choosing to see today? Are you seeing pain as punishment or as preparation? Are you letting your mind replay every bad memory? Or are you reframing them as stepping stones to your evolution? The Stoics believe that if you can master your perception, you can master your life. Because the world doesn't break you, your interpretation of it does. And once you understand this truth, no one can control your peace again. So next time someone hurts you or life throws chaos your way, pause. Don't react. Ask yourself, what story am I telling myself right now? Change the story and you'll change your world. Because in the end, reality is not what happens to you. It's how you choose to see it. Number 7, focus on virtue, not validation. Let's be honest. How many times have you done something just to make someone proud of you? Maybe you posted that picture hoping your ex would see it. Maybe you worked harder than ever, not for yourself, but to prove to someone that you were worth loving. We've all been there. That silent craving for validation, for someone to notice, to say you did good or I miss you. It's human, especially when it's someone you once loved deeply. Imagine this, you're in love. You do everything for that person. You give your time, your heart, your energy, but slowly you start noticing something. They don't appreciate it anymore. The more you give, the less they value it. And the emptier you begin to feel. You start questioning yourself, and am I not enough? That's the trap of validation. You start depending on someone else's approval to measure your worth. And once you hand them that power, you become their prisoner. But Stoicism teaches us something powerful. Virtue is the only true measure of worth. Not attention, not likes, not someone's affection. Virtue, your character, your integrity, your ability to do the right thing even when no one's watching. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one," meaning stop chasing recognition. Live by your values instead. When you focus on virtue, your peace no longer depends on anyone else's opinion. You love because it's your nature to love, not because you expect something back. You forgive because you choose peace, not because they said sorry. You walk away when disrespected, not to prove a point, but to protect your dignity. Remember that person who left you confused, who made you question your worth? One day they might scroll through your life, see your calmness, your growth, and wonder how you managed to stay so grounded. But that's not your goal anymore. Because you've learned something deeper. Peace comes from alignment, not applause. So ask yourself right now, when was the last time you did something purely because it felt right, not because you wanted to be noticed? When was the last time you looked in the mirror and felt proud of yourself, even if nobody else said it? Virtue means living in truth. being kind without weakness, strong without arrogance, and wise without needing validation. And once you start living like that, you'll realize something incredible. The people who truly belong in your life will respect you not for what you do for them, but for who you are. So stop chasing love that needs proof. Stop living for the approval of those who can't even see your worth. Focus on virtue. And validation will become meaningless noise, because at the end of the day, the most powerful feeling isn't being admired. It's being at peace with who you are. And at the last, number 8, discipline is destiny. Have you ever looked back at a relationship and realized it wasn't love that failed, it was discipline? Think about it. You loved deeply, you cared. You wanted things to work, but somewhere along the way, emotions took over. Words were said in anger. Promises were broken out of weakness. And before you knew it, love slipped away. Discipline isn't about control, it's about consistency. It's about choosing what's right even when your emotions are screaming for what's easy. Imagine this, you're sitting alone at night, phone in hand, fighting the urge to text that person who once made you feel alive. You type the message, and then delete it. You breathe deeply and whisper to yourself, "No, I've been here before." That right there is discipline. And in that tiny moment, you win a silent war inside your soul. You see, love without discipline becomes chaos. Dreams without discipline become fantasies. And a mind without discipline becomes a battlefield. The Stoics knew this truth long ago. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Freedom isn't doing whatever you want. It's being in control of what tries to control you. Now let me ask you something. How many times have you promised yourself, "I won't cry for them again," yet you found yourself doing it anyway? How many times have you said, "I'll move on," but one memory, one song, one picture pulled you right back? That's not weakness, that's being human. But discipline, that's what turns heartbreak into power. Discipline is waking up early when your heart wants to hide under the covers. Discipline is focusing on your goals when your mind wants to wander back to the past. Discipline is saying no to what destroys you, even when it feels familiar and warm. And here's the truth. The person who masters discipline masters destiny. Because destiny isn't written in the stars, it's carved by your daily decisions. The Stoics believe that a disciplined soul becomes unshakable. When storms hit, they don't beg for calm, they become the calm. When others break down, they stand tall, not because they're heartless, but because they've trained their emotions, not to disappear, but to obey. So maybe the love you lost wasn't meant to destroy you. It was meant to train you, to teach you self-control, patience, and strength. Maybe that heartbreak was your greatest Stoic lesson in disguise, showing you that destiny favors the disciplined. Because the truth is, every message you didn't send, every tear you wiped away in silence, every moment you chose peace over chaos, that's you, building your destiny brick by brick. And one day you'll look back and realize it wasn't fate that saved you, it was your discipline. At the end of the day, my friend, life isn't about avoiding pain, it's about transforming it. It's about standing in the middle of chaos and saying, "I will not be broken." Because that's what Stoicism truly is, and not coldness, not detachment, but strength through understanding. You see, all those moments you thought were the end, the heartbreaks, the rejections, the nights you cried quietly so no one could hear, they were actually the beginning of your rebirth. They were teaching you control, patience, and discipline. They were burning away your weakness so the real you could emerge, calm, strong, and untouchable. Maybe you loved someone who didn't value you. Maybe you tried your best and still got left behind. But remember this, you cannot lose what was never meant for your growth, and you cannot be broken by what was sent to make you stronger. Every Stoic law you've heard today is a reminder that peace isn't found by changing the world. It's found by mastering your inner world. Control what you can. Accept what you can't. See obstacles as paths. Love your fate. Remember that life is short, so live with virtue, not for validation. And above all, stay disciplined, because that's where destiny begins. So the next time your heart aches, or your mind feels heavy with negative thoughts, remind yourself, you are the calm within the storm. You are the one who decides how this story ends. And maybe, just maybe, this isn't the end of your story at all. It's the chapter where you finally become who you were meant to be. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.